Hello everyone, it's Nintendogen64, and I'm here today to talk to you about a new project that is being worked on by a guy on YouTube called MonacledPotato. I will link his channel in the description, as well as the original video which I sourced this footage from. But this is a project called Spring Savanna, and what it essentially is a fourth homeworld that would have fit into Spyro 2. So this guy has gone out and in Blender created a 3D fully playable homeworld that is called Spring Savanna that would have slid right into the end of Spyro 2 and right after Winter Tundra. I mean, that's always been a big what if kind of question that we've thrown around over the years. Like, did Spyro 2 intend to have a fourth homeworld? I mean, the homeworlds are named Summer Forest, Autumn Plains, Winter Tundra, which leaves a perfect room for a spring-themed homeworld. And this MonacledPotato has done an excellent job of realizing what the fourth homeworld would look like. The textures he's using here are ripped off of the original Spyro games, I believe. And the music created by a guy called Mr. Modez, who's been creating Spyro music for years, really fits in well with the theme of the level. As you can see, there's Celestial Woods with the same text and font used in the Spyro games. It looks really authentic. Like that's the big takeaway from this project. It's currently a work in progress. It's not totally finished, but the authenticity of this, the fact that we can actually now rip textures straight from the Spyro games, as you've probably seen with Crystal Fish's texture hacks, what we can do now in the Spyro universe, we're getting very close to being able to create our own 3D Spyro games, and I think that's just on the horizon. But for now, this is an incredible project that's being worked on. There's Deserted Bay, which I guess there's no real thematic content in terms of level design. They're just sort of, there's a space-themed level and a desert-themed level. I assume that would have been a desert-themed level. Those were the Ripto flags, which were ripped straight out of the other homeworlds in Spyro 3. And as you can see, like, the large rooms here are very reminiscent of the rooms that you would find in Summer Forest or in Winter Tundra, for that matter. And there's the ladder there. I don't know if they would have had an ability that Spyro would have unlocked in the fourth homeworld if there was to be a fourth homeworld, because as you know, you learn swimming in Summer Forest, you learn climbing in Autumn Plains, and the head bash in Winter Tundra. So I wonder if they were going to have a fourth homeworld if they were to have another ability for Spyro to learn. The thing about this homeworld too that is very different from the others, and something really interesting that I didn't really conceive of before, is just the scope and scale of this place. This would be the largest homeworld in the Spyro 2 game if there was to be a fourth homeworld, and just the sheer size of this place is breathtaking. Just to think about, with today's modern sensibilities, the kind of homeworld that we could see. This is Glacial Falls, which is using the same background as Crystal Glacier from Spyro 2, and there's a large tree in the center of the room, which I guess would be reminiscent to those of you who've played Spyro 2 of Summer Forest. This room here actually looks like the room in Summer Forest, where you have to backtrack to climb. But yeah, like the size of the roof and everything, and just the scale of this place is enormous. Like, obviously a great deal of time and effort has gone into creating this homeworld. There's Hunter, and I don't believe you can actually approach and talk to Hunter in this at the moment, but I'm sure there would have been an orb challenge perhaps. Or this actually does look like the entrance to the boss. That's what it reminds me of more, like if you were to go into Crush or Gulp. I suppose this would be Ripto if they were to do a fourth homeworld, which leaves another question of would there be another boss in the game in addition to Crush and Gulp, perhaps? And if so, how many orbs would you need to get into that? And the other question being, would they have had talismans in Winter Tundra and this level if they were to continue to 4 homeworlds? Because there's always been a running theory that Spyro 2 was unfinished, and that they were going to have an extra homeworld, but either ran out of time or just decided not to create it. The other thing too is that this looks like it does take inspiration from Spyro 3 as well. Like this, like the texture and design of those buildings there look like something out of Sunny Villa. That's the first level of Spyro 3. I also get hints of Sheila's Alp with the flowers on the ground there, and also some Cloud Temples as well. It reminds me a bit of Cloud Temples too. It's like if you combined Cloud Temples with Sheila's Alp and Sunny Villa. That's the kind of feel I think this level was going for. And maybe some Enchanted Towers too. I think the big compliment is that it feels like it would fit right in any Spyro game from the original PS1 Spyro games. That was Meadow Cliffs back there, by the way. It looks like it's using the same portal image as Stone Hill from the very first level in the very first Spyro game. How about that? And as we ascend up here, you'll get a nice view of the level. I love the skybox there. I can't put my finger on exactly what level it's taken from. It could be a unique creation for all I know. Just like a really authentic looking skybox, and same with the draw distance there as well. Like, I know this is created on Blender, but it has a very PS1 feel to it, which I do appreciate, as evident by the fact that the textures are taken right out of Spyro. You can actually, there's no public release of this demo yet, but I'm sure it will be released to the public eventually. Like, this seems like something, once it gains traction, that people will be really invested in playing. It looks like there could have been maybe like a secret here, or maybe like a talisman or an orb to collect, perhaps. I'm not too sure exactly what the aim was to have there. Yeah, but it's really it's I think the other thing too to take away from this this project is that it leaves the door open for many people to have their own interpretations on Spyro and perhaps create more content in a similar vein to the original games. Clearly, there's a thirst out there for it. There's a hunger for people to produce more original classic Spyro content. I think with Spyro being currently trapped in the Skylanders universe, there's a mild frustration amongst the fans of Spyro out there to see him, you know, have the sort of revival, the renaissance that Crash Bandicoot is currently experiencing now. It looks like there's an orb up there. It's kind of, I mean, this isn't too much of a difficult place to get to in the game if you take it canonically speaking, so it's kind of strange that they would put just an orb in the middle of nowhere. It's such an easy place to get this far into the game, but, you know, it's a work in progress, so you don't really expect that kind of stuff. I also get a very Cloud Spires feel from this as well. I know I'm just listing up Spyro levels that it reminds me of, but it's true though. I mean, it's that's what it should feel like, right? And there's an excellent view of the level. You can just see the scope of this place. It's a very Spyro 1 layout, I would say, because you've got a lot of independent floating islands all around like one central location. Very much Spyro 1 inspired in that regards, I would say. And you can see over there's another portal in the background, but just here, like the cliffs and the old castle style, like I never really thought of Spyro being like a medieval game, or a game that took place in any specific time period. But I could definitely see someone like making an argument for the fact that Spyro does take place in the medieval times, or even like the Roman times, perhaps. Not entirely sure. It's fantasy though, so whatever. This right here that we're going under, textures are taken directly from Autumn Plains, that bridge that you get the orb on. And we come up here, and there's another little secret passage too. And the lighting too. Let's talk about the lighting for a moment here. This guy has got the lighting just perfect. Like, it is excellent with the way the purples sort of come off the roof there and light up the room. It's really a breathtaking thing to view. That's what does that say? Xeriscape? That's an interesting name. That could be a boss perhaps, or I'm not too sure what that is. It could be a level. It's a funny name for a level. It doesn't really fit in with the Spyro naming conventions when it comes to levels, though, does it? This cave too is very inspired from Wizard Peaks, I will say, from Spyro 1. So yeah, clearly taking inspiration from all three Spyro games, which is a really cool thing to see. Like, most people neglect Spyro 1 for some odd reason. I guess it doesn't fit in with like the same happy-go-lucky charm that the other two games have. But, you know, each to their own. It's actually one of my personal favorite games of all time. Could be my favorite Spyro game, not too sure, but I love the atmosphere for it. This project is really something special, and something like this only comes along once every few years. So I think it would be a tremendous show of support if you could all visit the original video in which this footage was sourced from, and just throw your support towards MonacledPotato for completing this, because I mean, playing a fourth Homeworld in Spyro 2 has been a fantasy of many, I can say, and hopefully we can see this project come to light. So please support him so that we can play Astral Speedway, we can play Celestial Woods, we can play Cliff Meadows. I think this is a bright future in Spyro modding and a right step forward, so I look forward to where things go from here, and as I always say, farewell for now, but not forever. Take care, and I'll see you guys later.